Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Heart health is more than just the physical well-being. It represents like a foundation of vitality, resilience, and the ability to live fully.
Your heart carries stories of resilience, love, and survival. Caring for your heart means honoring yourself and the generations before and after you. It means protecting your ability to gather, laugh, and be present. Learn more about your heart health at hennepincounty.gov/heart-beats, because your story matters and your heart beats for generations.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 70, then Tuesday, sunshine with a high of 90. There's something for everybody at Cafe Latte in St. Paul, from award-winning soup, salad, sandwiches, and desserts to treats from the bakery made fresh daily and a pizza and wine bar. Cafe Latte is located on the corner of Grand Avenue and Victoria Street. Check them out at cafelatte.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be Indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut. He need cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events. And as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, welcome everyone. It's a Monday here, and it's 1,000,000 degrees here in the Twin Cities. And we got a lot going on. Tomorrow night I'll be at the Lynx game, and it's Native American Heritage Night, and everyone get out there. They're giving out a t-shirt and it look like a bucket hat, really cool. We'll be covering that, but it's also make sure you get out there and support the Lynx. They are just a fabulous team. I have our producer on, Misko, and right now, and I wanted to talk a little bit. She did an article for the our social medias, as she does, and does a great job on our social media, and talking about a little bit today about the Peggy Flanagan, Angie Craig, and I don't know if it was a debate more than kind of just a Q&A kind of thing. It didn't really seem like a debate, but it's very civil and great to have you on, Misko. And maybe you can report to our relatives out here all over Turtle Island what you heard and what you listened to. And I know maybe you just read your article too. Welcome.
Buju kakina uya
Hello, everybody. My name is Misko. I'm 25 years old. I'm just getting into learning about politics, working with Robert Pilot here on the radio, Native Roots Radio, and with the Circle newspaper. And so I just tuned in this morning just to kind of watch the debate while I was working. I seen Robert Pilot, while I was watching as well. I think this morning, just reading from my article or the post that I made this morning, Craig and Flanagan debate key issues ahead of the DFL U.S. Senate primary. The candidates discussed abolishing or restructuring ICE, healthcare affordability, war in Iran, and support for Israel, artificial intelligence and data centers, and prediction markets, presenting differing approaches while sharing concerns about the challenges facing Minnesotans. It was really interesting to see what both candidates had to say. Craig emphasized her experience serving in Congress and highlighted her record for working across party lines to advance administration, while Flanagan focused on her experience as Minnesota's lieutenant governor and outlining her vision for expanding opportunities for working families in tribal communities. I don't know. It was just really interesting. Is there anything else you would like to say about that, Robert, before I keep going?
No, I appreciate that, and I really appreciate your article was pretty even-handed, which as people listen to Native Roots Radio, that always isn't the case from from my angle, and you're laughing because of some of the comments I put up there that didn't agree with Angie Craig and what she was saying, but I really appreciate your one of the things too I want to mention is at the very end they both said that they would support each other without even flinching if the other person won the primary. So that was good to hear.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see how that plays out. I'm just going to read their closing statements. A condensed version from what they said. Craig encouraged voters to consider her congressional experience and legislative record, while Flanagan emphasized community leadership and grassroots organizing. The quote that I have for Angie Craig was, "Voters have to use their democracy in order to save democracy. I still believe in this country. We have to fight Trump. I know how to do that, but we also have to be able to reach across the aisle to get things done." And Flanagan, for her closing statement, she said, "I will never bend to Donald Trump. I will always stand with Minnesotans. I stand with the people of Minnesota. I will be beholden only to you. I've delivered on minimum wage, paid family medical leave, feeding kids breakfast and lunch at school, and will continue to fight for our country and for our state." It was just super interesting. I am trying to be very unbiased when reporting on this because I do want people to come to their own conclusions, and you can obviously be in favor of who you want to be. But at the end of the day, this is Native Roots Radio, and I just want politics and, stuff like this to be accessible to our community and for them to understand. And I have a background in media, and I'm hoping, through my graphic art or graphic designs that I'm reaching people. I'm trying to share it to get to, peers my age to kind of understand what's happening right now. And then just, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I appreciate that unbiased report because that's what we need to do, and especially, the Republicans really want to make it seem like we're really fighting each other, and that's not the case. We're really moving forward in a lot of different ways, and being progressive is not always a socialist, and that's the funny thing is socialists. I don't know. Socialist picks up our trash and has our firemen and things like that. So I don't think it's a bad thing to be a socialist. And I always think of too the next 7 generations we always talk about, Misko. And one of the things is, what am I leaving the next generation? And that's important for me to think about because I can't take all my riches and with me to the next place. And we have to really be with our neighbors and really, really talk with our friends and really be open to, good things for everybody. When Native communities are doing well, everybody's doing well. And that's our focus here on Native Roots Radio.
Yeah, yep. And I just seen a post, from my relatives who live on the tribe, and they're also saying, how do we get young people to be involved? There's only 1 or 10% of the eligible voters voting on, during their tribal elections. And so I think just things like this, having an accessible radio station, news outlet, media, that people can understand what they're listening to, and it's coming from a Native voice. And again, super important that we're here, that we're talking about this. Yeah,
exactly. Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to Steve, and he said good morning from Australia. You just flicked up on my news feed, probably would have been with you at Standing Rock Days, and that's really cool to hear because, as you know, Misko, that's how we started the show. It was Standing Rock and all the misinformation and lack of information that was going on all over Turtle Island, and we brought nothing but guests in weekly, and we're in our 10th season here and really excited. Hey, we are really excited, Misko, too. We're going to have Arvina Martin on the rest of the show, and what a powerhouse. And we have some things to talk about. There's stuff going on all the time. And I was in Madison for less than 24 hours Saturday, and I could feel the vibe of what's happening after that murder of a young person by the police. And I'm going to get a check-in from Arvina about any kind of update, what's happening there, and what's the vibe in one of my all-time favorite cities in the United States, Madison, Wisconsin.
And always remember to put your tobacco down and pray for yourself, pray for your community. Looking forward to hearing from Arvina, and don't forget to find Robert at the Lynx game tomorrow for Native Heritage Night.
Oh, wow. Good one, Misko. Oh, hey, up next again, Arvina Martin, our friend from Madison, Wisconsin. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us. Let's hear a hoa, Misko. Come on now. All right, we'll be right back.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations. Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and this is Native Roots Radio. Hey, we are with our friend Arvina Martin, Ho-Chunk Nation citizen, community advocate, and former elected official in Madison, Wisconsin. She made history as the first Native person elected to the Madison Common Council, and it's always great to see Arvina and have you on. Arvina, I have to really ask you right away, give an update to what's happening in one of my all-time favorite cities. I really felt it. I was on State Street Saturday and saw a lot of people that were, we had ours here. Maybe you can give an update to people listening what's happening and what led up to this. So again, thanks again for always being on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a while. I'm glad to be back and talking with you. But sad to be talking about what's happening here in Madison. Last week there was a young man who was shot and killed by Madison police. And I first heard about it because people recorded it and put it on Facebook, like as it was, as it was happening. There was a commotion, and thank goodness that we had so many folks that were there to document what happened. And from my understanding, and I will say that I'm not somebody that can watch that kind of thing on purpose. I just have a very hard time with it emotionally and mentally. But from my understanding, there was a young Black man who was, somebody had called into police about him peeping into cars or something. And I think whoever called must have been thinking, oh, this person is going to try to break into a car. But the response from Madison police certainly at this point seems very escalated and completely unwarranted. Even if there was, even if he was, that is not a death penalty level offense. And we don't even have the death penalty in Wisconsin. From accounts, it sounds like the young man was tased on the ground when he was shot in the head. I don't know about you, but if someone is on the ground and there are other officers and he's already been tased, I can't imagine the threat. And we in Madison have an independent police monitor that was created while I was on council, and I think it was at least, and what that office's job is to evaluate, analyze, and determine, what happened in situations like these. They are to investigate and and they report their findings to the PFC, the Police and Fire Commission, who are the ones that are basically the authority over our police and fire departments. The mayor is not the boss of the police chief. The council is also not the boss of the police chief or the police force. So it is meant to be an office that will determine in a non-biased way about uses of force by Madison police. There are things happening here. There are folks that are if you are here in Madison, you can email your alder or email all alders and ask them to keep the meeting for, they're supposed to have an item on their agenda regarding funding of the independent monitor. And please make sure that they, go and do they keep that. I'm sorry. It's really an emotional topic, and I apologize for not being able to speak more clearly about it, because things are developing rapidly as well. But making sure that item does not get postponed to a later meeting. It needs to happen now. This isn't the first time this has happened. And this is not the first time that this has happened on Willie Street. Willie Street is the Madison shorthand, or the nickname for Williamson Street, where this incident occurred. Tony Robinson, another young Black man, was killed on Willie Street. I believe in around 2016. It's been a while. I believe it's been 10 years since he was killed. And so
the third death since 2012 that the Madison police have shot or killed someone in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
Also, I want to give a quick shout out, and we can move on, Arvina. It's really hard. And I just want to give his name some flowers. Corey Riaz, who was identified as Black and Latino from Wisconsin court records, was shot and killed by a Madison police officer on Wednesday after a brief scuffle. And we all watched it. And our prayers are out there for the city of Madison, and also healing, and also to get the truth out there. And so this is a heavy duty thing, and I wanted to make sure we bring it up and talk to it. People, because it isn't getting enough press out there either, I don't think.
No.
I really wanted to bring it up.
Well, when I heard the news, the first thing that I thought of was that this young man's mother, Corey Ruiz, has to hear her son isn't coming home. And as a parent, I can't imagine that kind of pain. That losing your child to police violence. And there are too many people in this city who are worried about their children. Particularly our Black and brown relatives that are worried about our children in situations like these, because we know that there doesn't need to be a provoking action. These happen far too often. And it can be just somebody who's caught in it. They don't know what's going on. They had nothing to do with whatever situation. They weren't being violent, but because they didn't realize, maybe they didn't put their hands up right away. Or, just looked. We know that these happen unprovoked. And it's just so painful, and just to think about it. And I know you understand. I know that the people of Minnesota understand this kind of pain. There is, at the intersection of Willie Street and Baldwin, where the incident happened, there are growing memorials. There is a community vigil that has been happening, and it is rapidly evolving. I know that there are plans that are being made as we speak, to determine the best way forward. But they're also, there's a lot of misinformation out there. There are people that are organizing things that are independent of the Ruiz family. And there are people that are, I saw that there are flyers for events that nobody's heard of on Facebook. I know that in Madison, I have been, for information, I have been following a lot of Madison Alder and Common Council Vice President Sabrina Madison, Madison Alder Carmela Glenn, as well as, school board member Ali Muldrow, as well as community leader Dana Pelabon. And these are all Black women and incredible leaders in our community. And I know that they have information, that they have the right information, and they check their information as well. And I know that, we've been dealing with some pretty outstanding heat here in Madison and trying to get supplies to those that are sitting vigil. Please say your prayers, and please, email the Madison Common Council. You can email all alders. If you go to their the City of Madison website, click on Common Council, and you will be able to email them. Please ask for them to keep the item regarding the independent monitor on the agenda for Tuesday's meeting.
Perfect. Hey, thanks, Arvina. And I know this hits home with you, and being a mother and also just a great citizen of Madison and what's going on. So I appreciate your courage and talking to us about what's happening in one of my all-time favorite cities. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we're going to be back with Arvina after this short break. We'll be right back. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation. I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Programming is supported in part by Health Partners. If you're age 65 plus and qualify for medical assistance, you may also qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. This all-in-one plan bundles Medicare, medical assistance, prescription drug coverage, and dental coverage into one simple $0 premium plan That also includes $0 medical copays. In addition to saving money, you can get lots of extra benefits and perks, like a dedicated care coordinator, up to $400 each year in rewards for preventative screenings, transportation, a fitness club membership, and more. This can help you live safely and healthy and independently. If you're a senior on a budget, transportation assistance can be huge. Plus, who couldn't use an extra $400 these days? Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 70, then Tuesday, sunshine with a high of 90. There's something for everybody at Cafe Latte in St. Paul, from award-winning soup, salad, sandwiches, and desserts to treats from the bakery made fresh daily and a pizza and wine bar. Cafe Latte is located on the corner of Grand Avenue and Victoria Street. Check them out at cafelatte.com. This is AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and we are with our friend Arvina Martin, our political consultant. And I just wanted to mention something on the bumper there that that there's going to be a fundraiser with Jane Fonda and for Peggy Flanagan coming up this week. I just wanted to throw that out there. Kind of just threw off our whole down the middle kind of reporting that Misko did in the first thing, but I just wanted to give that a quick shout out. And Arvina, I wanted to also, if you wanted to finish up on that thought, I would really hurried you off on that last part, especially talking, finding out more information and about this, about you. Do you have more to bring up? I know I hurried you up on that last part.
No, I just, check with, the like on Facebook posts for the women that I mentioned about supplies. If you can help donate, I know that they are looking for things to be able to keep food cold, and a lot of it. This is really, every time this happens, we all think maybe this is the time that something will change. People protested last week at the concerts on the square. For those of you that are unfamiliar, every summer on Wednesday evenings, they do the Madison Chamber Orchestra performs concerts at the Capitol that are free, that people will show up to. The square closes, there's food trucks and people come with their blankets to come sit and listen to orchestral music. Actually, they had a special Ho-Chunk Nation Commission song that was performed several years ago. But this is a very large Madison tradition, and the protesters got the show canceled like in the middle of it. They stopped. And they are not having the concert again this Wednesday. The area where this took place in the summer also has I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Has a lot of festivals and things that happen in the summer with vendors and food vendors and arts and crafts and services and music. Atwood Fest, which is one of the larger ones, was supposed to take place that last weekend. They also canceled the event because of they want people, that because of what is going on, and people are focusing their efforts on this. Those are big. I have hope in my heart that people start paying attention, but especially on social media, you hear people say things that are not helpful and say things that are racist. And, I love Madison. This is my home. I was born and raised here. I raised my daughter here. And I continue to live here because I do love it here. But we do have a major problem with racism here in Madison, particularly against our Black and brown siblings that are jailed at an astonishing rate compared to, population percentages. And you can't, tell me that that Black people are committing crime at that rate, that much higher of a rate than white folks, but because of how policing happens nowadays, there are all these structural barriers that a lot of folks are facing, and that things that are related to being poor are criminalized. Then, officers see the Black people and are, I don't know, are less willing to give people a warning, less willing to say, oh, that's, hard times, and are willing to look the other way when people with lighter skin tones commit the same actions.
Thank you for bringing that up. But we're here with Arvina Martin, our political consultant out of Madison, Wisconsin, and we just got to give a shout out not only to AM 950 but Civic Media that we're on, and really appreciate their support. I wanted to mention this too before we get any further. Is I was worried that you were going to be able to come on to the show. It always seems like the weather is terrible, and I got to give a shout out to our relatives in Winnebago County. They just had a massive storm there in Wisconsin this afternoon, and I just want to give a quick shout out and hope everybody's okay. But darn the weather, I've never seen the weather like this. I've never seen smoke like this, and we go back to Mother Earth is being messed with big time, and we got all these other things like data centers that are going to really mess us up when it comes to our water and to our electricity and all those things. It's just, where do we start, Arvina? And again, a shout out to our relatives in Winnebago County.
Yeah, there was a large tornado that touched down in Appleton and in, I believe, the city of Menasha. And again, from social media, massive destruction. It just, so many buildings leveled. And it happened like during the noon hour, roughly. And we in Madison were lucky in the sense that we did not get any storms, but which is good because severe storms are scary and are damaging and are injurious. But we also really need rain. And I really think that we are crossing a Rubicon with this super El Nino year. And, I've seen stories about fish in lakes up north, and meaning up north, I think in Canada. I don't know if this is happening in Minnesota yet, but fish that are just dying because the water is too hot in the lake. And what does that, what is this doing? Our most sensitive ecosystems are already dealing with die-offs, with and changes that are going to be extremely detrimental. We don't know that if this is a one-off. We don't know if this is, the way things are going to be going forward. And yes, we have, and I keep seeing articles as well that all of these data companies want to build on reservation land because they just see it as big open spaces that's not doing anything. And going back to the old idea of terra nullius, which was one of the ideas that European colonists and settlers used to take our land, because they're like, oh, there's nothing happening here, I'll just live here, because they don't understand how we view the land, how our communities have interacted with the land, and we just as tribal nations, we need to flex on our sovereignty and say no. They're going to continue to dangle insane amounts of money to our tribal leaders, and we need to make sure that our leaders are the ones that have the backbone to say no to all of this money, because money is finite, but water's also, we need water to live. We can survive without ChatGPT.
It's funny. I'm a lot older than you, Arvina, and they've been talking about the next big battle is not, fuel. It's going to be water. And I know we started the show because of the Dakota Access Pipeline and the pipeline going underneath the Missouri River and having the biggest aquifer in the world underneath it. And it's just amazing. Now we're dealing with data centers and all the things around it that dies with the continuous hum and all the water that they take. It's more important now than ever that you're here and that you speak the truth and talk about it, because I really, really believe our mainstream media has really failed us in this last 10 years, if not even longer.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of the conversations that people used to have about storing nuclear waste. And it's the same. I mean, it's the same kind of environmental racism in a different font, so to speak. And again, this is so much money, like unbelievably large amounts of money. And when we run out of water, it won't matter how much money you have, because we need it to live. And we here as citizens of Wisconsin and of Minnesota, we have Lake Superior, the largest freshwater source on the planet. And then the rest of the Great Lakes chain, and we need to protect those waters, because they are integral parts of our survival. And we do not need to be sending water to cool down data centers. We do not need to be sending water to Las Vegas or Arizona to make the desert look like Scotland so people can go golf. It's just we need to, and not to mention all of the wetlands that go into, that feed into or help keep the water clean. The sloughs up by Bad River, all of these sloughs that are incredible and ancient wild rice beds. We need those. And for folks that maybe the environmental impact isn't necessarily what gets them, when there's data centers in your community, your own water rates go up. You're paying for the water that cools them down.
And electrical. I've seen cities being taken over by these, and they have to find their own electricity out east. Hey, we're here with Arvina Martin, our political consultant, directly from Madison, Wisconsin, and a Ho-Chunk citizen. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this short break, after this short message. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovated Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
When we heal from our traumas,
When we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Heart health is more than just the physical well-being. It represents like a foundation of vitality, resilience, and the ability to live fully.
Your heart carries stories of resilience, love, and survival. Caring for your heart means honoring yourself and the generations before and after you. It means protecting your ability to gather, laugh, and be present. Learn more about your heart health at hennepincounty.gov/heart-beats, because your story matters and your heart beats for generations.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hi, it's Dr. Evan Adams, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. Hey, Victor, you better be listening.
In this portion of the show, we like to bring awareness to our wolf and bear populations throughout Turtle Island. Say no to the hunts.
Hey, welcome back. This is Native Roots Radio, and we are with our friend Arvina Martin, our political consultant right out of Madison, Wisconsin. And Arvina, before we get going here, talking about some more issues, we could probably have an 8-hour show here, but I want to remind everyone about your services and what you do on your side job, your side hustle.
Yeah. I am available to have any kind of political conversations you would like. But if you want to run for office, if you know people who want to run for office, if you want to get involved, or you want to teach a group of people how to engage politically with your elected leaders and with your community, I am available to do trainings. I can teach you the whole campaign process, or the process of running a campaign and running for office. And, make sure that you've got your win number set, that you have your elevator pitch ready, and that you are raising all the money that you can so you can communicate with your voters and win your race. I can also lead trainings about what is tribal sovereignty and why is it important for our elected officials to be working with tribes as peer governments, how to engage in Indian country, as well as things like public speaking. So, shoot me a message on LinkedIn. I am the only Arvina Martin there. And let's have a conversation. If you have something that you want to have some kind of training that you would like to have for a group of people, whether it's young people, whether it's elders, or whether it is anybody else, let me know. And it's possible I can see about putting together something special for your group. Businesses, local units of political parties, anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen you in action. And of course, you've been on the, how long have you been on the radio show? I know at least a couple years, at least 3 years, right?
I think so. I'm not sure, actually.
We'll have to have an anniversary show.
Yeah.
So again, so much to talk about. Just popped up here today on Associated Press that Trump's administration is urging the Supreme Court to allow order targeting mail-in voting before midterms. Here we go, is all I have to say.
Well, yeah. I mean, we knew this was going to happen. We knew that he was going to, try to put his thumb on the scale for elections, because, that this blue wave keeps growing, and people, electeds on the GOP side are not running because they are reading the tea leaves and seeing all of the discontent and all of the pain that has been caused by this administration on the American people. You know, gas prices are going up again thanks to all the actions in Iran. And, you know, he went on TV to talk about how unsafe our elections are from interference. And I mean, it was also funny to me that, you know, he basically was saying, well, this, you know, the election in 2016, or, you know, when he got elected, they were okay. But funny how it was the Democrats in office when he won.
Right.
And that
he was in office in 2020.
Yeah. So, you know, I just like, normally one would think, oh, the Supreme Court isn't going to listen to anything he has to say.
Right.
Now we just have to hope. And, you know, trust in the Supreme Court from the American people is at an all-time low as well. And, you know, I honestly, I don't know what they would do with this call from the president. But it's wild to me that we even have to be worried about that, you know? Yeah, it's, I mean, it's, again, with the terribleness, and, you know, it's making me miss the World Cup. And what I learned was called cultural effervescence, which was kind of the joy that we were all experiencing when we would see, you know, the Scottish or the Tartan Army take over Boston and go to the Red Sox game where they all sang Sweet Caroline in Scottish accents, and you know, folks from other countries being completely blown away by yellow school buses and red Solo cups, that they really exist, not just in movies. And you know, it was and it was unexpected, you know, and you know, from them to folks being completely like mind blown by our gas stations, by Quick Trip and by Buc-ee's, by the city of Lawrence, Kansas, going all in for Algeria because that's where they were practicing, you know, and I'm hoping that the folks that came from other countries are going back with an impression of our country that is
our people,
a 180 from the one that our president projects. So
the difference between our government and our people, it was really brought forth, like you said, and I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, and now that I know that there's a term for it, collective effervescence. This was this joy that we all experienced watching all of this. Other folks experience our normal was novel and exciting to them, and it made us happy, you know. And it's almost like we've forgotten what it feels like to have that kind of joy and like, you know, just a lightness. We've all been carrying such heavy weights over the last decade, you know, and we just, there needs to be more, you know. Please, I hope everybody, you know, is taking care of themselves. It's so hot. Stay hydrated. I've got my water bottle right here. Yep. Yes. So hydration break for anybody who's listening right now. Take a glass of, you know, take a sip of your water. And, you know, remember, so when I was growing up, you know, you always tell kids, you know, you can't go do the fun stuff until you finish your homework, until you clean your room. You've got to get your work done first. And it just, these days, it seems like there's so much work to be done. That I know I feel like I can't do things for myself. And rest and filling your cup when it is empty whether it is like filling your actual water cup, or if it's like filling your mental well-being cup, is not, it's essential. It's not something that is like, it's not extra. It's not for when you're being good. If you need a break, take it. If you need to turn off the computer, turn off your TV, do it. Go outside. There are studies that show that even walking outside for a little bit resets something in your brain. Even if you're in the city, you know, go to a state park. Enjoy the beautiful places that we live and our beautiful homelands, you know, and take care of yourself. Find out what that means. It can be small, but please, and look after your loved ones, because we're all hurting still.
Yeah. Good words, Arvina, and a big Peenigigi. Thank you so much for being on. Again, Arvina Martin on LinkedIn. Check her out. And again, this is Native Roots Radio, and I want to thank you, Arvina, as always, for coming on and uplifting and talking our truth and your truth. Really appreciate you.
I'm always happy to be here.
Right on. Hey, tomorrow, a Lynx game. I'll see you all there. This is Native Roots Radio, signing off.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots